We want to empower them to vote and use their voice and stand up for other humans in whatever way that means.
Our top story right now, live at 5, a reaction to the new and nearly total ban on abortion that is now in effect in Indiana as of today. A protest began at the governor's mansion today at noon, and that protest continues tonight. So does a march that is just getting started here at Tarkington Park. You're looking at live pictures now as that event gets underway this evening. This group will begin walking in a few minutes toward the governor's mansion as well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, live at 5. I'm Dan Spieler.
And I'm Birshel Edmay. Now, the new law started at 12:01 this morning. As you may know, the law bans nearly all abortions from the point of conception, which means at any stage of the pregnancy. There are limited exceptions to this ban. If the pregnancy was caused by rape or incest, abortions are allowed up to 10 weeks, regardless of age. And doctors can perform an abortion if the mother's health is seriously at risk or if the fetus has an illness that leaves a low survival rate in the womb or shortly after birth. And those abortions can only be performed at a hospital or an outpatient medical facility, not an abortion clinic.
Although this law is now in effect, it still faces several legal challenges that have yet to be decided. For that, let's go to the State House right now and check in with Fox 59 State House reporter Kristen Eskow, who spoke exclusively today with Attorney General Todd Rokita about those lawsuits. Kristen, good evening.
Well, good evening, Dan and Birshel. This lawsuits have not stopped the law from taking effect today, as you mentioned, but there's a chance a preliminary injunction could be issued in either case, and that would put this law temporarily on hold as the case is decided in the courts. Now, meanwhile, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita tells me he feels good about the state's chances in upholding this law.
We can't minimize how serious the loss of abortion rights in Indiana will be.
ACLU of Indiana's legal director Ken Falk says he's hopeful judges will put Indiana's near-total abortion ban on hold as the two lawsuits he has filed are decided. One argues a right to privacy violation under the Indiana Constitution. The other argues the ban comes into conflict with Indiana's religious freedom law, since not all religions believe life begins at conception.
That is not the view of Islam. That is not the view of Judaism. It's not the view of some Christian denominations.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita has vowed to defend the state against any lawsuits filed.
Indiana has had an abortion ban in its history before Roe v. Wade.
With the law now in effect, Rokita is also focusing on enforcement and says his office will present violations to the state's medical licensing board. But he says any complaints will be vetted first, and those investigations will be prompted by reports his office receives.
I doubt we're going to rove around with deputy attorney generals looking in facilities and that kind of thing. It's going to be driven by complaints and tips we receive.
As far as the lawsuits go, Jody Madeira, who teaches law at Indiana University, says either could be successful, though there's little precedent for the religious freedom case.
We're used to basically having a pattern of conservative individuals filing suit, arguing that certain state laws obligate them to do things that are counter to their religious principles. Here, the theory of the case is a little bit different.
Now, the first court hearing on that first lawsuit, that's the one focusing on right to privacy, is set for Monday afternoon in Monroe County, and that's when the judge could decide whether to put this law temporarily on hold as the case is decided. As for the second lawsuit that focuses on religious freedom, a court date has just been set. That's for October 14th here in Marion County. For now, we're live this evening at the State House. Kristen Eskow, Fox 59 News.
All right, a lot to sort through here still. Yeah. Kristen, thank you so much. Now, as Kristen sat down with the Attorney General today, she also asked him about a case that put Indiana in the national spotlight this summer, his investigation into Dr. Caitlin Bernard.
The Attorney General says he stands by his actions, and you may remember AG Rokita started an investigation into Dr. Caitlin Bernard after she performed an abortion on a 10-year-old rape survivor from Ohio. The Indy Star published a report about that girl's care. AG Rokita went on Fox News and called Dr. Bernard a, quote, abortion activist acting as a doctor. He later implied, without evidence, that she violated privacy laws and that she did not file the proper legal paperwork.
Well, Fox 59 requested that paperwork and got it soon after the interview. It shows that she did, in fact, follow the law And an IU Health review of their employee found Dr. Bernard did not violate the girl's privacy. Kristen asked the Attorney General about that investigation today.
Since you announced that investigation, some have said that you, in their view, are trying to intimidate physicians out of performing legal abortions. What's your response to that?
Well, if it's me, it's been my predecessor and my predecessor before that and everything. It's the job that we do at the Attorney General's office is to enforce Indiana law. And this one might have been high profile, but it doesn't change our actions or how we behave or how we investigate the complaints that we receive.
Now, we also asked what his investigation has found over the last 2 months since it was opened in July. He says, quote, "It's not time to report on that yet."
Also today, Indiana State Democrats held a news conference on the front steps of the State House to speak against this new law and to encourage their supporters to vote in November.
There are few things more important than fighting to guarantee basic human rights. There is no more important moment than right now, standing together as we continue to push back against the Republican supermajority's power grab.
Attorney General Rokita was the only Republican state leader who spoke with us today. Governor Eric Holcomb was at an electric vehicle manufacturing plant announcement in Marion, Indiana this afternoon.
Now, also because of this new law, some Indiana abortion clinics are preparing to close down for good or are having to find new ways to operate. We've heard from at least one OB/GYN who's taking her practice out of state. The Women's Med Center on Indy's east side was seeing patients just yesterday. Today, they're having to turn people away. Dr. Kate McHugh says the clinic will stay open for a while to provide follow-up care before closing. She's been obtaining licenses to practice medicine in states that do allow abortions.
My heart is just with the people who are realizing they'll be forced to continue pregnancies that they don't want or can't afford.
Now, we've also spoken with leaders with Indiana Right to Life. That group has been critical of the new law throughout the process, saying it didn't go far enough to stop abortions. But today they tell us this law is a start of what they're hoping to achieve.
This is a major moment in Indiana. We are expecting to see a 95% reduction in abortions in our state going forward.
Both sides of the issue said they will be awaiting the outcome of those two pending lawsuits regarding the state's new ban that took effect today. Of course, we'll keep watching those lawsuits as well and bring you any updates here on air and online at fox59.com. Also on our website, you can take a look back at the debate that has shaped this law throughout this summer's special session. Kristen and I will have a full breakdown of the new law, including more of the interview with Todd Rokita and reaction from our panel of experts. It's all coming up Sunday morning on this week's edition of In Focus, 9:30 a.m. Sunday right here on Fox 59.